Good afternoon, everybody. I will be doing a summary of the Air Force Security Forces or the law enforcement of the Air Force. I will be reading passages from the assignments as they were due. Let's get started. In the early part of 1943, the Army formed its first Army aviation military police companies, evolving from existing Army MP units, and the roots of the USAF security forces can be traced back to World War II during the German Brigade. So the Air Force in a whole started from the Army when the Army realized that they didn't have enough coverage in air. So they then came up with the Air Force, and with that they needed their own set of security. So the leftover MPs, the military police, got moved over and changed to the U.S. Air Force Security Forces. And like I said before, that's what we'll be going over and talking about today. So they were posted in different groups. Their main mission was to protect the base and every asset that was on that base. That could be anything from people to planes to just buildings in general. And that was their whole group. That was it. That's all they did. They didn't, at this time, they didn't patrol the local base. They didn't patrol the airfield. They didn't do anything besides making sure that those specific people were taken care of. So in 1952, their school was moved to Parks Air Force Base in California and renamed the Air Base Defense School. Moved again in 1956 to Lackland Air Force Base, Texas, where it is still currently there. I went through in 2017, and it was definitely very challenging to overcome everything that school teaches you in the short amount of time. So with the Air Force as a whole and the security forces in general, it provides a range of community engagement programs. There's the Wounded Warrior Project, which is great for veterans, and then they have base tours, which is another great thing for the civilian population to be able to get in the eyes of the military and the Air Force, to be able to see what it looks like on a military installation, because it's definitely not what you see in the movies. It's not everybody walking around in uniform and drinking and having a great time. But they continue to do more things. I'm sure everybody's heard of an air show or seen an air show. That's community involvement for the Air Force to do that. And with that, the security forces' main job is security. So they take care of everything that happens during those events. It's all on them. So not every single base does a base tour, but many do on certain days or like specific events. And they also have their visitors information section on each website, so you'll be able to, if you wanted to tour the Rock Island Arsenal, there's probably a day where you'd go and be able to tour that. And then with moving on to the air show, it's not just about the planes in the sky. They bring in aircraft that hasn't been flown in years to be able to see the evolution of the Air Force, and technically what you're paying for as a taxpayer, being able to see where your money goes and see how things do continue to lift the spirits of everybody around. And they have youth programs where it's after school, because there's a lot of school programs that are on the Air Force Base. So we bring them in, we let them play with the canines that are there, because our canines are more homebound than a lot of the canines in the regular law enforcement. So the security forces in general is known as the department, because the department, what they're known for is being the first and last line of defense. I understand that doesn't really make sense, being the first and the last, but the security forces now, they work the gates, they patrol the bases, they're the last person you'll see if you do something wrong. So that's how, they're the first and the last. They're first, you see them, first thing you see when you get on the base, and the last thing you would see, leaving base. So they're the protectors of the entire base itself. So the public eye is very different than the civilian world. The civilian world has all of these rules and regulations that they're able to abide by, but security forces, it's very, very black and white. You have pull over a vehicle and they were speeding, it's a ticket. You don't have really that freedom to kind of have that police culture and the image. It's very well known in the military what the image is of security forces. So it is, it's very cut and dry. So now I will go into the role play activity. So the scenario: police chief department, you studied running major events in your jurisdiction. Okay. Fantastic.